All right, well, hello everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. As you can tell by the title and by this quick slideshow, I am going to be talking about my glow up. Wow, thank God for glow ups. All right, so hello everyone. I am back for a new video. Right now, I'm just trying to see if this angle and if this lighting works. Right now, it looks like it's a little bit dark, but I think I might push past this and just keep on recording, but we'll see. All right, so hello everyone. Good morning, good evening, whenever you're watching this video. Obviously, as you can tell by the title, I'm going to be talking about my glow up journey in terms of what caused my glow up journey and pretty much what I did in order to become a better version of myself. As you could have seen in the beginning of the video, I just had a couple of photos of how I looked like before. I'm just going to be showing a few photos throughout the video as well. Also, a couple of photos of what I look like now, just so you guys can see the comparison. I feel like I've grown a lot within the last couple of years. So I definitely just wanted to showcase it because the other day I was looking at my photos in Google Photos where I back up all my stuff. And honestly, I was shocked, to say the least. I was shocked as to how much I've changed physically, and I can also see like emotionally, I can tell where I was at that moment. So just being able to see the comparison of how much I've grown as a person is just like says a lot about my journey. So I feel like all the information that I've gained throughout that process, I definitely want to share with you guys. Obviously, like the other videos before, I'm leaving a little bit of space here so I can just include any photos throughout the video. Right now, I have my laptop in front of me just to have an order of what it is that I want to talk about in today's video because I most likely will be doing a series about this. So today, I just want to talk about my journey and how I transformed, and then we'll just take it from there. So here we go. All right, so first and foremost, pretty much, I guess I could say around 2018 is when I graduated high school. At that moment, I was pretty much just trying to get ready for college. I was going to community college. I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life. I just knew that I had a lot of interest. And based off of what I was being told, I was pretty much told to go to school, get a major, start a career. I was working as a teacher assistant in a pre-K school. It was like a private school. I was also working alongside my sisters as well, which is obviously a huge blessing, but I knew like deep down inside it's not what I wanted to do long term. So I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of miserable. Like around from 2018 right up to 20, I was just like going through the motions of life. I wasn't really happy. I was a little bit depressed. I was dealing with like a lot of mental health situations that I just didn't know how to cope with. So it was challenging for sure. But I guess I could say, like, pretty much in terms of my habits, like, I wasn't really consistent with the gym. I was a cross country runner throughout high school. So once I was out of high school, I didn't really like adopt any like specific type of routine in terms of like the gym and my fitness. And so I just sort of like freestyled it in terms of like what I was eating, what I was doing physically. I didn't really care. In terms of my personality, I was definitely a confident person. I just wasn't aware of myself and how I looked like. I feel like one word that I could definitely use to describe myself, like emotionally and just like where I was at that moment, was definitely a little bit naive. I feel like I had a lot of like cool ideas and dreams in my head, but I never really had a plan as to how I was going to manifest that and to have it happen in real life. So it was a little bit challenging, just trying to figure out what it is that I wanted to do and to see like how I was going to do it. So it was rough. I'm not going to lie. It was really rough. I mean, I enjoyed going to school, just learning and seeing people in college and stuff. That wasn't bad. It was just in terms of work in my career where I was like really struggling to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. And for me personally, I just feel like I tend to obsess a little bit about my career and what I want to do. I feel like I'm very focused like on my career. I'm a career focused person. So just that whole aspect of my life kind of did affect me mentally in terms of like where I was at that time. But now to move on to the turning point that caused all of this, self-improvement type of situation was actually during COVID. So, right before COVID, I was still working as a teacher assistant, and I remember vividly in my head the last day that I was in that building. Obviously, I was working with kids. It was weird because throughout the entire week, slowly and slowly, kids just started not showing up. And I was hearing about like the pandemic, like on line and stuff, but I didn't really take it that seriously. Like I was scared, but I wasn't scared up until the point where I'm like, oh my God, like everything is gonna be like shut down. I was just a little bit concerned, you know? But once everything shut down, I was like, wait, this is real life. Like this is actually happening. And I got laid off and I just had a bunch of time on my hands and I was pretty much in my house just doing whatever. So during that time, I sort of had a moment to figure out what it was that I wanted to do with my life because alongside with my job, my school also became remote as well. So it was just like a lot of idle time just chilling around my house. And I really wanted to figure out and dive deep what it is that I wanted to do. And at the time, I actually was taking like an intro to film course that honestly sparked that idea of like trying to manifest like me wanting to get into that field. Because I'll be honest with you, I never really thought it could happen for me. I just thought like that's too like out there, like don't even try it. But I was like, honestly, at this point, like during the pandemic, I was like, girly pop, like you have nothing to lose. Like at the end of the day, job security is a myth. Nothing is promised in life. You might as well just go for the things that you actually want. So at that moment, I pretty much figured out that I just wanted to pursue things that I wanted to do. And for me, ever since I was little, I knew that I wanted to talk, I wanted to communicate, I wanted to be in front of people, perform to a certain extent. And I also loved fashion. Those were like pretty much all of the things that I loved: talking, presenting, performing, and fashion. Those are like the three main things that I knew I wanted to do because I've always tried to pursue those little things throughout my entire life. And I was like, if I want to be happy and if I want to stop being miserable, I'm going to have to pivot into this kind of field. Because I was going towards education, which is totally fine to anyone who's in that field. That's okay. My whole family is literally a bunch of educators. Everyone is it like within like the districts and all that stuff. So it runs in my family, like teaching and educating and stuff, which is fine. Who knows what the future brings in terms of me like teaching and stuff. But I knew deep down in terms of like taking care of kids in the classroom and doing all of that, I just didn't want to do it. So I was like, I'm not going to like put myself through that type of misery if I know deep down I'm not going to enjoy it. So I decided, like I'm going to try to find like an acting class. I'm going to try to find this, that, and the third, just so once this pandemic lifts, I actually know what I'm going to do and I can just like hit the ground running. And also, this time, I also decided to take a gap year once I graduated because I just didn't know what it is that I wanted to do in terms of like my career. And I only had my associates. And I was like, I'm the one that's going to be paying for my tuition, not my family. So I'm going to have to sit down and figure out what it is that I want to invest in. So that was also another reason why I took my gap year. My parents were not happy about that at all. If anything, they thought I was just like delaying myself in terms of like my career. But during that time is when I really got to take a good look at myself and to see like where I'm at, where I want to be, and what are the steps that I need to do to get there. So that's pretty much the turning point as to how I decided that I really wanted to like glow up inside and out. So right now I'm just going to pivot over to the journey that I took in terms of like my glow up. So once the pandemic lifted a little bit and I found out that the gym close to my house was opening up, I immediately decided to do a gym membership. Cause me, like I'm a runner. That's what I typically do just to like, calm down and to release some stress. That's what I wanted to do. So I decided to go back to the gym. I started taking care of like my health in terms of what I was eating because obviously when you're in the house, it just you have a bunch of idle time in your hands and you're just gonna want to eat. And me, typically I tend to eat out of boredom. That's what I've noticed about myself. So I always need to like do something just to avoid like overeating because I gained a lot of weight. I don't really think I'm gonna add like the numbers as to like what I weigh. I feel like you could just tell by the pictures. Like I was a little bit thick. And also in high school, I was a little bit thicker as well, which is something that I was completely blind to. I didn't realize like how like puffy, I guess you could say I looked. Like I was physically active and stuff, but you could tell that I didn't really take care of myself in terms of like skincare, my outfits. That's a whole other video that I'm going to do in the future in terms of like fashion wise. But physically speaking, you can just tell that I didn't really care. So I really wanted to make sure that I put in a lot of effort now, especially knowing that at this point I decided that I wanted to get my foot in the door into like the entertainment industry as well as like content creation. I knew I wanted to do all of that. And at this time, I decided to go back to the gym. I decided to sign up for acting classes. And I also tried to start a YouTube channel. So that's another thing. This is not the first time I've attempted to do this. I've actually attempted to do a YouTube channel a lot in the past, and it just never like occurred. It just always fell through because it was either I didn't know what niche I wanted to do, I just found it extremely complicated, and also a big one, I didn't feel confident in the information that I was stating. So I know earlier in the video I stated that I was extremely I wasn't extremely confident, but I was confident in terms of like approaching people and talking to others. Like I definitely wasn't shy. But in terms of feeling confident in what type of information I was displaying to others, I didn't really know what I wanted to say.
This looks so weird. Oh my god, I'm not used to seeing my face on camera. Whoa. Whoa. I don't know if I like this lighting or setup. Let me see. I don't know.
I didn't know who I was as a person. So sitting down and deciding to do a YouTube channel was kind of difficult for me because I was still in this process of becoming a better version of myself, and I didn't feel confident enough to showcase who I was physically and mentally because I just felt like it didn't feel right. Like I had built like this whole like art studio in my basement and I tried to film down there. All the photos of that, I'll definitely try to insert it in this video. But it just didn't feel right in my spirit. And speaking of spirit, I actually got into my spirituality a lot more. I started like manifesting and praying a lot. I started listening to like different like pastors and stuff like that because I really just wanted clarity as to like what the heck I was going to do with my life. Like I just didn't know. And I knew that the path that I guess you could say my family wanted me to go down was not the one that I felt was right for me. I just always felt deep down that I was supposed to do something like in the public eye. I've always had that like feeling, even since I was young. Like I'm supposed to do something in front of people, whether it's like speak, perform. I didn't really care. I just wanted to do stuff in front of people. Because I guess like I like that kind of attention. Like I just felt alive whenever I did that. So I knew that's what I wanted to do. So I sort of just, sat down, wrote down what it is that I wanted to do, and figured the steps of how to get there. So that's pretty much what I did. I stayed consistent with the gym. I started doing acting classes. YouTube, I just sort of let that fall to the wayside. I was working full time as well. So I was like a busy bee. Like I really was busy. So I like dropped about, just to go back to the physicality and my physical changing and stuff, I dropped about like 20 pounds of weight throughout that time period from like 2018, from when I graduated high school. From 20, I was around the same weight, gained a lot of weight throughout the pandemic. So from 2021 up until now, it's like about a 20-pound weight difference. And I kept track of this, so that's why I know. But like I guess I can show like a before and after of like what I looked like back then and what I typically look like now. Right now it obviously wavers because I'm not going as like hardcore as I was back then. But I was really like dedicated into changing because I knew the life I wanted to live, and I was very adamant on not being complacent and not just settling for what everyone else figured was like the right move for me, because I didn't really care what everybody else thought of what I should do. I already knew what it is that I wanted to do and I was going to do it. So that's pretty much what happened. I'm going to be doing separate videos, going a little bit more in depth about physically what I did, like what I ate and my workout routine, about fashion, what I did and how to switch that up. And I guess I could do skincare, but I most likely will just include that into the physical part as well. But yeah, there was like a lot of changes that occurred to me, that occurred at that period. And pretty much, I guess you could say, like now in the present time, I still go to the gym. I try to go at least 3 to 5 times a week. I definitely manage what I eat. I make sure to eat during a specific time period. So I do intermittent fasting. I make sure just to like keep track of what it is that I'm eating, just to maintain like my weight in terms of that. Because obviously in the industry that I'm in, it kind of matters. Unfortunately, even though sometimes you'd love to say like screw it and just go crazy, I can't do that. Because the life that I want to live does not allow me to have that sort of mentality. Like I need to be serious about like how I look and how I maintain my figure. So that's pretty much it for this video. I hope everything made sense. That's pretty much just like a rough draft of like how everything occurred and what caused me to want to change. But I guess my last note to you guys, if you guys are in this journey right now, in terms of like you wanting to glow up and knowing that you want to improve yourself, whether it be physically, emotionally, mentally, just know that you can do it and you're the only one that's going to do it. Don't try to place the responsibility on anybody else other than yourself. You can always make excuses as to why you can't get stuff done, but at the end of the day, it's your job to figure out whether or not those excuses are big enough for you to not do what it is that you actually want to do. And that was a situation for me, especially in terms of like my career and what I wanted to do. There was a lot of like pushback, but I feel like I was very stubborn in terms of what I wanted to do because at the end of the day, no one's going to live my life except me. And for you guys, no one's going to live your life at the end of the day except you. So you have to make that choice to sort of pivot into the life that you want to live and figure out what are the steps that you need to do to get there. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have for this video. I hope everything made sense. Like I mentioned earlier, I will be doing, I guess you could say, episodes of what it is that I want to show you guys as to how I got to this point in my life. I feel like I definitely love giving piece of advice and showing that like inspiration to you guys. I feel like that's something that I want to do in terms of utilizing my platform that's growing. So I really enjoy talking in front of the camera and being able to show my journey because it may look like I have everything together, but that's not how it always was. As with anyone that looks like they have their stuff together, especially on social media, you just never know the journey that people took to get there. And I want to showcase that journey as well. So, yeah, that's everything for today's video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to give me any ideas as to what videos you want to see on this channel, please do so. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.